And my name is
One.
Aisha Jamal. Oh,
And my name is Afreen Fatima.
today we'll be discussing one of the most widely debated conspiracy theories of recent years. The claim that COVID-19 was deliberately created or released as a bioweapon. We will explore the historical context, explain the claim, examine evidence both for and against it, and evaluate its credibility based on available expert research. The COVID-19 pandemic, caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus, began in late 2019 with initial cases reported in Wuhan, China. By March 2020, the World Health Organization had declared it a global pandemic, making the beginning of a major public health crisis that will go on to impact every region of the world. The novel coronavirus is part of a larger family of viruses known as coronaviruses, which includes SARS and MERS, two viruses that had previously caused outbreaks in 2002 and 2012 respectively. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 2020. Like those viruses, SARS-CoV-2 is believed to have originated from animals and made the jump to humans, a process known as zoonotic spillover. Early investigations and genomic analysis supported the natural origin theory, suggesting that the virus likely emerged from a wildlife market in Wuhan. Bats were identified as possible reservoir, and the virus may have passed through an intermediate animal host before infecting humans. This explanation aligned with what scientists already knew about how viruses can cross species barriers and evolve to infect humans. Despite this scientific consensus, alternative theories quickly emerged. One of the most prominent is the claim that COVID-19 engineered was intentionally engineered or leaked from a laboratory, particularly the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which has been conducting research on bat coronaviruses. This idea gained traction due to several overlapping factors: political tensions between China and Western countries, early delays and opacity in China's reporting of the outbreak, and a general erosion of trust in governments and the global institutions. The theory that COVID-19 was created or released deliberately as a bioweapon became especially popular within conspiracy theory circles. Its spread was accelerated by the internet, partisan media outlets, and influential public figures, despite a lack of viable evidence to support the claim. These conditions, global crisis, scientific uncertainty, political hostility, and a digital landscape ripe for misinformation, formed the perfect storm in which the bioweapon theory could flourish.
Explanation of the conspiracy claim: COVID-19 as a bioweapon. The conspiracy theory that COVID-19 was created or released as a bioweapon suggests that the virus did not emerge naturally through animal to human transmission. Instead, proponents of this theory argue that SARS-CoV-2 was deliberately engineered or manipulated in a laboratory setting, then released either accidentally or intentionally as part of a covert government agenda. The most common version of this theory centers on the Wuhan Institute of Virology, also known as WIV, a research facility in China known for studying coronaviruses in bats. Some conspiracy theorists allege that the Chinese government, either for geopolitical leverage, population control, or economic disruption, developed the virus as a biological weapon. Others suggest that the release was an accident during lab research, which was then covered up to avoid international backlash. More extreme versions of the theory expand the blame to global elites or secretive power structures, such as the World Economic Forum or pharmaceutical companies, claiming they had coordinated the pandemic to usher in global surveillance, digital vaccine tracking, or economic resets. These claims often rely on the existence of shadowy motives, ambiguous evidence, and patterns of historical distrust in institutions rather than scientifically verified facts. Supporters of the bioweapon theory often point to the timing of the outbreak, the secrecy of the Chinese government, or the early suppression of whistleblowers as indicators of a cover up. However, many of these claims lack solid empirical evidence and have been widely disputed by scientific experts and public health organizations. In short, the conspiracy claim suggests that COVID-19 was not a naturally occurring disease, but was created and weaponized by powerful actors for hidden agendas. Despite its popularity in certain media and political circles, this claim remains speculative and unsupported by definitive scientific evidence.
Evidence of this claim being accurate. To begin with, Dr. Li Mengyan, a doctor from China who was involved in research, claimed that the coronavirus was purposely leaked from a lab. She worked in a research lab where experiments involved the coronavirus. She claims that the lab has an outstanding surveillance system and that it is simply impossible for the virus to accidentally escape. When Dr. Yang reported this to her supervisor, who was also a consultant for the World Health Organization, there was no response from them. She was warned by others that if she crossed the line she would be made to disappear. Furthermore, the CIA has made a statement recently regarding the investigation of the origins of COVID-19. They claim that COVID-19 was intentionally created inside a lab. Some people believe that the virus was not intentionally leaked, but accidentally leaked. There are Chinese scientists who talk about some laboratories were experimenting with the coronavirus on bats. People claim that the Wuhan laboratory, which is about 280 meters away from a wet market, is to blame for the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. Chinese scientists Botao Shao and Lei Xiao created a report discussing the possible origins of the pandemic. They believe that the virus had possibly traveled from the laboratory to the wet market due to its close proximity.
Evidence of this claim being inaccurate. Many scientists argue that the coronavirus pandemic was not spread through laboratory exposure, but rather through the natural origin theory. This theory claims that the coronavirus has spread via natural animal to human contact, not through any intentional human interventions. Most scientists say that the coronavirus has probably spread from bats to another animal, also known as an intermediary host, to humans. This claim is backed up by a report written by the World Health Organization, which claims that this is the most likely route the virus has come about. Moreover, the CIA claim that they have low confidence in their conclusions on the origins of the coronavirus. Their conclusions were deemed as unlikely by a joint investigation done by the World Health Organization and the government of the People's Republic of China. Conclusion: Evaluation of the two sides. When examining the claim that COVID-19 was deliberately engineered and released as a bioweapon, it is important to weigh both the evidence that supports the claim and the evidence that contradicts it. On one hand, proponents of the bioweapon theory point to the statements of individuals such as Dr. Li Mengyang, a Chinese virologist who alleged that SARS-CoV-2 was intentionally created and released by the Chinese government. Dr. Yan argues that the virus's genomic structure and the biosafety protocols of the Wuhan Institute of Virology make accidental release impossible, suggesting deliberate action instead. Supporters also reference intelligence assessments from agencies such as the CIA, which have indicated a low confidence belief that COVID 19 originated from a laboratory. Additionally, research papers from Chinese scientists Botao Xiao and Li Xiao have speculated that the virus could have escaped from a Wuhan laboratory due to its close proximity to the original outbreak site at the Huanan seafood market. On the other hand, the majority of the global scientific community and public health organizations, including the World Health Organization, maintain that the virus most likely has a natural origin. Multiple peer reviewed studies suggest that SARS-CoV-2 shares significant genetic similarities with coronaviruses found in bats, and that a zoonotic spillover event from bats, possibly through an intermediate animal host, to humans is the most plausible explanation. Furthermore, investigations into the Wuhan Institute of Virology have not produced conclusive evidence that SARS-CoV-2 was artificially created or deliberately released. The lab leak theory remains disputed, and the bioweapon hypothesis lacks concrete, verifiable evidence that meets the standards of scientific rigor.
In conclusion, the evaluation of the two sides. While the bioweapon theory is supported by certain individuals and speculative intelligence assessments, it is not sustained by the weight of the available scientific evidence. Most expert analyses favor for the natural origin hypothesis, citing genetic data known as patterns of zoonotic transmission and the absence of variable proof of deliberate creation. Therefore, based on the current evidence, it is reasonable to conclude that COVID-19 pandemic was not the result of an intentional bioweapon release, though further independent investigations could provide additional clarity in the future. And that's all. That's our presentation. Thank you for listening.